I've got a couple guests joining me today. Very excited to be talking with Rob Wolf from Wolf Financial Advisory, as well as Jan Nowak Walters. She is with Red Bud Area Ministries. And Rob, we're here to talk about something that we've talked about in the past, and that is your charity of the month that you guys do on your website, wolfadvisoryservices.com. And people can learn a lot about that. But I want to learn about why you guys do this. I mean, you've been doing it for a little while now, and why would Wolf Financial want to do something with charities?
Well, it's certainly our way of being able to give back to the community. We've been blessed to, I've had a presence in financial services now for almost 30 years, and I've had a wonderful career being able to provide for my family and seeing all the need that's out there. We wanted to come up with a strategy of how can we give back to the community and by sponsoring things like this, where we can highlight local charitable organizations to give them love so that people can have awareness of what's going on. And sometimes people just have some extra dollars, but they're not quite sure where to put those extra dollars for charitable. So we wanted to provide a source on our website at wolfadvisoryservices.com under the resources tab, charity of the month, where we've listed out a whole host of different charities. We got podcasts where we have conversations with these charities so you could get to know a little bit about what they're doing. And if they pull your heartstrings enough, hopefully you'll want to click on that charity and donate some money directly to them. It's our way of being able to give more exposure, and by giving more exposure, hopefully be able to raise more funds than what we could do just on our own.
Well, and I know you, whether it be your clients or people that you interact with in the community, is that it not only you have those conversations about, man, there's this organization, you guys are a part of the community, but I think also too, and you kind of touched on it before we got in here, is that it's something that for you guys as well, you're learning more about things that are in our community as well.
Absolutely. I learned about Red Bud Area Ministries by interacting with one of my clients who was a big supporter, and she was sharing with me everything that they were doing. And I asked Jan to contact me, and that's how we got together. But learning all the things that organization do just blew my mind. And then it's like, wow, if they're doing this, but I didn't know about it, how many other people don't know about it? So that's the whole mission of this program that we're starting, is to educate the general public on all the amazing good works that are being done in our community and how people can jump in and help out too.
And we want to learn more about this charity that you are being a part of at your website, wolfadvisoryservices.com. Just look for the charity of the month. It's right there. But Red Bud Area Ministries, you hear the name every once in a while, but especially if you're in the Buchanan community, you may hear about it. But Jan, tell us more about it, because I know I've been in the community for many years and I live down that area, but I even don't know about all the great work that you guys are doing. So tell me a little bit more about Red Bud Area Ministries.
We have been around for 42 years, different locations, but 20 some in this current location. We serve Buchanan and Galeen. And God bless you, you didn't know about us because you probably never needed us. There's a wonderful underground network of communication in our region for those that are in need. But I want a bigger footprint, because as times grow more difficult, our support region, our support area needs to grow beyond the perimeters of our service area. So we provide food, clothing, housewares, toiletries, personal care items, limited financial assistance, seasonal programs, lots of prayers. It's all part of the package. There's lots of places that do what we do or do similar things that we do. But I think what makes Red Bud Area Ministries, I know what makes Red Bud Area Ministries special is how we do it. The first thing we vend when somebody comes in our door is to give them their hope and their dignity back. Nobody wants to be in a position of asking for help or being in need. That's painful. So let's take the stigma out of it. Let's take the pain out of it. Our guests come in and they know they matter from the minute they walk in the door. And we foster friendships with them. So the next time they come in, we're just like, hey, didn't grandma have surgery? How'd that come out? Did you get that job? How's things going? So that they know that they're cared for in more than just material ways. Their personhood is valued. Their success is valued. Their needs matter. We pray for those. So Red Bud Area Ministries, I think, is a really special, unique place. And I'm just darn tickled to be at the position of leadership for this organization. God brought me here, and by golly, I'm going to do it until he says your time's up. 6 years this month I've been there, but the agency has existed for 42 years.
Wow. And giving so much to the community and
Mhm.
helping the community in ways, in so many different ways, as you mentioned, you need funds coming in
Oh,
and
goodness.
support
Yeah.
from the community and things like this that
Right.
the wonderful people at Wolf Financial are doing. It's
Right.
I mean, without that, what would you be able to do?
Close the doors.
Yeah.
What we do, I'm the only paid staff position and I'm part-time. My entire team is comprised of volunteers who value this ministry and want to be a part of it. It takes roughly 450 volunteer hours a month to run our place.
Wow.
And we're only open 16 hours a week. So you do the math.
Mhm.
That's a lot of people per shift. And I don't have enough. I need more volunteers, people that understand the ministry and the mission of what we do. But quite honestly, because the volunteer hours are all staff, that's a contribution, a cost I don't have to put out. I do not go after government funds or other large entities because, frankly, I don't want my hands and ankles tied and here, go spend the money, but hobble to do it. I don't want that. So we are 100% donation supported, whether it's groceries coming in the door that I can hand out,
Mhm.
or it's funds where we can go purchase those items we haven't received, if it's financial assistance to keep the lights on. Quite literally, we exist because of the generosity of people in our community and the providence and grace of God. That's why we are still so strong and growing in all of these years. We can't do it alone. This is a chance for people to have a piece and a part of that ministry, a piece and a part of changing people's lives, literally.
Now you had a story that you said you were going to share a story during this conversation, but you didn't give me any context as to what exactly it was. So, what is this story that you're going to tell me about?
I shared this story when I sat down with Rob and Jonathan and did a podcast in January to bring home the disparity that some of our families endure. And it may be the people you sit next to at church. It may be your kid's soccer coach.
Sure.
It may be the crossing lady, the crossing guard lady. You don't know who these folks are. They could be your next door neighbor for all you know, for crying out loud.
Lots of underemployed
Oh,
people.
Sure.
Yes. Underemployed or can't get enough hours.
Mhm.
I don't serve a lazy public.
Right.
I don't serve people who aren't trying. The people that we serve are busting their hump trying to make life work, and it's just not enough. So the story, I was with a colleague at a school and given a little presentation about outreach and
Sure.
ministry and things. So my friend who's like kind of like the coach kind of guy,
Yeah.
giving them the rah-rah speech
Mhm.
and how important nutrition is. So he says, now you have to be careful what you ask a bunch of kindergartners because they have no filter.
Sure.
They're going to speak plainly. So he says, hey, breakfast, most important meal of the day. Everybody got breakfast. It's like putting gas
Mhm.
in your
Mhm.
tank and fuel up. Everybody have breakfast. Raise your hand, right? And he noticed this one little nipper in the front didn't raise his hand.
Mhm.
So he naturally thought, well, he didn't hear the question. Come on, everybody. Raise your hand. Who ate breakfast? Yeah, breakfast, everybody. Still, this little guy didn't raise his hand. So he walked over and he says, hey, buddy, this is like get your day started, but breakfast is super important. You didn't have breakfast? And the little guy shakes his head, no. Guy says, well, how come you didn't have breakfast?
Sure.
And just as plain and straight faced, the little kid looked at him and said, it wasn't my turn.
Mm,
It wasn't my turn. So, as bluntly as that kid spoke that line, that's his reality.
right.
But can you imagine turning the camera around and looking at the parent on the other end of that story, trying so hard to make it work? Can you imagine saying to your kids, honey, this is the best we can do. You get breakfast Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Your sister gets it Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. The pain in that story is
Mhm.
palpable.
Yeah.
It wasn't my turn. So we want to take that sting out. We want to fill that gap. We want to provide that support and that growth and that development and love on that family to make sure that those stories are extinguished. I sat across from Rob the first time I told that story, and I knew it pierced his heart
Yeah.
because his eyes welled. And it's like, you can't tell that story and not be affected.
Right. Absolutely.
But
Powerful stuff.
also serving your clients with the purpose of having them keep their dignity.
Oh, if I don't vend dignity, I shouldn't be in leadership there.
I think that's what really impressed me about your organization
Yeah.
is understanding that they don't want to be there.
Right.
Right.
And it's hard for some people to feel like they're taking a handout,
hmm
but you make it so they're keeping their dignity and you're allowing them to be able to make ends meet.
Mm,
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And little things that we tweak. There's a lot of places that do similar services to us, but how we do it sets us apart. Coming from a mental health background, I, I abhor the word client. In your business, it's fine. But in mental health work, when you use the C word, it puts a barrier between them and you.
sure.
And in our offices, there is no barrier between them and us. We are them. They are us. Every one of us is 2 weeks away from a great big, oh my gosh, holy cow, what are we
Mhm.
going to do? Right. So there is no barrier. So we've extinguished the word client. Everybody that comes in our door is considered and called a guest or a friend. So that right there is loving and supportive from the get go. And then they're shepherded through the building, through all of the stuff that we have to offer with one of our staff. We call them a shopper helper,
Mhm.
to just walk with them, to help them make selections, to put things in their cart because it's the pantry part is self-help,
Sure.
self-choice. But it's more than just walking with them. It's learning about them. Because as you're chit-chatting and going through, all the grocery aisles what we have,
Mhm.
you're gonna find out, gosh, well, maybe their electric is in jeopardy of shut off. Well, let's go talk to Miss Jan.
Sure.
Let's find out. I got a job interview. Well, do you need some clothes? Do you
Mhm.
need so making them feel felt and supporting those guests in more than just
Handouts.
yeah,
Sure.
it's a hand up, not a hand out.
Mhm.
But just those subtle changes in how we view what we do changes the context and the temperature of how we deliver it to our guests.
And I think the other real important thing is you are a great connector of
Yeah.
of other agencies that might be able to help them.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite spidey senses. I can web stuff together. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't want to be the do all be all. Number one, I
Mhm.
can't. But number two, that would eliminate other places the
Sure.
opportunity to have a part of a success story.
Mhm.
Really, when somebody's life is changed and feels a positive impact, I want people to have a part of that story.
Absolutely. Rob, if people want to learn more, if our friends and neighbors in the community want to learn more about Red Bud Area Ministries and the other charities and great organizations that you help, where do we go? And anything else you'd like to add?
Just go to wolfadvisoryservices.com. On our homepage, you'll see the resource tab. Under that's the charity of the month. You'll not only see Red Bud Area Ministries there, but you'll also see a podcast that we did in our office that if you want to learn a lot more, with about 45 minutes of us just talking back
Awesome.
and forth. And then all the other charities that we've sponsored in the past year, and lots of great podcasts with
Mhm.
them and links directly to their site where
Mhm.
if you feel led to support, whether it be financial, volunteer hours,
Mhm.
or just praying
Sure.
for these organizations. The more we can be putting out there to make people aware of all the great services there. Maybe there's that one person that's in need that we can help them keep their dignity,
Mhm.
but give them the needs to take care of themselves and their family. That's the goal of all this awareness. And if you do have a few extra dollars that you want to give to some charitable organizations and you're not sure which ones, check out our website. There's so many good ones there to be looked at.
And I don't want you guys to leave yet until you tell us what that big check amount is.
Did you
Yeah,
tell
I
tell
heard you.
what
I
date
heard you
it
had the
is?
big. You had the big check.
Yeah, so we have our charity of the month, and then we sort of have a quarterly campaign, and
Mhm.
we have Redbud as our quarterly. So we'll be cutting a check to Redbud Area Ministries for $15,000
Wow.
to support their
Mhm.
their works. And I tell you what, when Jan says she runs a tight ship, she's not
Mhm.
kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much every dollar goes to people in need. And
Yes.
and you shared with me when we first talked over the phone how you were going to your annual budget just for financial services, utilities, and things.
Mhm.
And what tell them what you told me about what you ended up spending just in that area last
Oh my
year.
gosh. So in 23, we had budgeted $24,500 for financial assistance. Now that means if somebody's coming in and they got an eviction notice
Mhm.
or their utilities are about to be shut
Sure.
off for they're in jeopardy of losing something. We do one appointment per year per household with a set amount. And it's not a lot in the scheme of things, but oftentimes it's enough to make a difference. It also allows them the responsibility to have some skin in the game. So they have to come with part of the solution. I bring part of the financial solution. Sometimes we partner with other agencies, but $24,500, that was a pretty good chunk of change for
Sure.
financial assistance.
Yeah.
Well, no, because in February of last year, I had already gone through half.
Oh wow.
And I was staring down the barrel to getting through, 10 more
Mhm.
months. And I thought, oh my gosh. It was about that point in time, I chatted with Rob for the first time. This, unknown guy calls me and starts asking me questions. Not just questions, but questions,
Yeah.
right?
Those kind of questions. I hear you.
So I'm explaining to him kind of where we are, and he's asking probing questions. And when I said that I was getting to the bottom of the barrel, I wasn't going to make it to the end of the year.
Mhm.
Um, and then somebody stepped up and said, well, you've already spent 12.5. Can I replace that for you to, get you back up to a full tilt?
Sure.
So we spent through my original $24,500. It tapered off eventually, but I ran out of my funds by August. And then you start getting into cold weather again.
Yep.
And last year we ended up doing like $36,000 of financial assistance. It's a whole lot more than I had budgeted. But because somebody's heart was touched, we got through the year and I didn't have to tell anybody, no, I can't help you.
Wow.
That's pretty empowering.
That is. And you can learn more about Red Bud Area Ministries as well as the great charity of the month. All that information is right there at Wolf Financial Advisory. WolfAdvisoryServices.com is how you can find it. But Rob from Wolf Financial Advisory and Jan from Red Bud Area Ministries, thank you guys so much for spending some time with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.